my loves, and welcome to EQ with JAH. So, you ever have a moment? I was thinking, I'm like, you call it a remembery. A remembery is when you're doing something in your life and it goes beyond just an imprinting from your childhood. It goes back to a deep spiritual knowing of your own self, the body, this flesh bag we walk around in, these bones that hold our structure to keep this flesh bag so nice and pretty for us, the innate building blocks that connects bone and socket and hinge and all these things that allow us to move our fingers, allow us to move our elbows, allows us to move our shoulders, and how it helps when you open your shoulders, it opens up your lungs, it helps you breathe. Like the remembery of our body, that muscle memory. I love working out, and sorry, I get excited. Let me calm down. But the muscle memory, when people say the muscle memory, when I started working out, it just snapped right back. It's the same thing with everything in your life. May it be how you think, how you feel, how you talk, what you decide you want to drink. All of these things come back to a remembering moment of what the body likes, what the body feels good with, and the soul moment of allowing that, knowing that the soul is not greater than the ego. I know a lot of times when I first started on the spiritual journey, I got really lost in the remembrance of the soul. When we as children are brought into this world, we are imprinted with what society says is the normal, yet we have our own internal world of emotions and understanding and interpretations of the same information that they're saying they're receiving that we see. Even if we see something different, we have to say, okay, they say that's what it is, I guess that's what it is, and everybody else is agreeing. That's the moment of the remembrance from the past where it's like it's easier to just try to go with the flow than to stand against the odds. If you really think about all the great leaders of the world and all throughout history, the people that we think about, we praise, and we give homage to are the ones who went against the grain. The ones who decided to listen to not just the remembrance of the soul, but the memory of the body. You understand? Like, I opened up this process of what I call ambidextrous memory, or when you are ambidextrous learning, where I was told I was left-handed because I primarily use my left hand. That just means that I'm connected to my creativity and my divine feminine energy more, but I am still innately on the outside. My energy is that of a biological male. I'm bigger and this and that. Yeah, I can be pretty, but I enjoy my male body. So I always had to learn how to articulate creativity and free thinking space with the male body, because in society we're not really shown back in, at least from when I grew up. Now there's more availability to, I feel, society, but it was very still to a point with men don't wear this, men can't wear that, you can't be creative in your color, you can't be creative in your it doesn't matter what you're sexually attracted to or any of that stuff. People still were associating systems of a remembrance of how to go with the flow versus saying, no, that's not authentically or genuinely me. So I started to really focus on what was it about myself that I felt like the world felt heavier. Because I would always have these beautiful soul moments, and people are like, Juan, you're deep, you get it, la la la. And I'm like, yeah, my soul gets it. My soul is JAH. She's been here before. She knows this life. That is my mother divine, all of my nurturing, loving energy. That's the part of it that came from my mother and her sisters. All that was poured inside of me. Grandma, when I say she, I'm honoring in all of the feminine energy and divine mothers and everyone who created me. So all of my feminine energy is inside it. It is a she. My outside is a he, because I choose to keep my identity as far as being a male, because that's what I feel comfortable as. Everyone else has a choice in that. This is where everything comes back into the energy flow of the remembrance and the memory. The remembrance is, I feel like I'm feminine, I'm a woman, I was a woman. You were in your past lives. This life, you just happen to incarnate into this body. You have the choice now to conform stand out or change. These are our choices in life. No one has to stay anything that they're born into. You all get to choose that moment of saying, I remember who I am, but now I know that my ego also has a memory of what to do. Because the body is, as we've tried to explain in our understanding of how the mechanicism of the body work, we're a machine, which means the machine should be in alignment. Until I started really doing physical exercises like stretching, not lifting weights. Lifting weights became something about, oh, lift, get bigger, la la, and I was not focused on the actual process of when they say holding your posture correctly. Like, it's so important, because just holding the weight alone means nothing if it's only hanging by the hinges of your bones and joints, which is how you hurt yourself in working out. You have to activate your muscles, which is get them in their place, get them tight and set so that they're compressed. Remember, muscles are like rubber bands. When they're not compressed, loose and whatever, and you start working out, bam, you snap something. When they're compressed and too tight, that's when you need to stretch, because you're not moving them. So when you have mobility, you can flex and, reflex, flex, same, you know what I mean? And when you're ready to lift something, your body's prepared for it, and you can balance out that weight. I was totally off balance. I've talked about this before. It woke up part of my spiritual awakening. This is part of the Kundalini. When you awaken, when they make it in the spiritual world, make it sound so complicated, but really it's balancing both. When I realized that this half of my body I only wrote with, brushed my teeth with, I lifted. So I kept pulling bones up, I kept pulling muscle up, I kept pulling everything up. I got tight here, I started to get a cringe in my neck. I only lifted with this arm. It went down, heavier, feels stretched out, worn out, nerves hurt. Guess what I'm doing? I was doing this to my own spine. And then eventually I started leaning to the right to compensate that. And then eventually I just was, and I looked all sassy. Everybody's like, oh, you sassy with that hand on your hip. And at the end of the day, I was just trying to make sure that I just hurt my back. But I realized that if I was not energetically allowing my feminine energy to create on the outside, then my feminine energy was going to take over my physical body on the outside. And so that's why I can go from when I say epicene and we call feminine and masculine and fluidity, I can go between, okay, back to whatever masculine is, whatever feminine is. These are fluidities of the body that we decided. Phallic is the male based on what we see, and fluidity is the woman based on what we saw. But these are energies that will never go away, because even then, to be a formed human being, even the feminine body that flows have to have a solid structure. That's why so much more feminine energy is the matriarch. They're the pinnacle of the family, which again, yes, it starts with the seed, but that seed started from something that, the whole egg or the chicken, which one? It's the cycle of life, and I'm happy to be a part of it to not know. All I know is that the mother holds the womb, and the womb holds the egg or the seed, and the seed grows there. And so in the male, we're phallic, but we're all gushy inside. Most men I know are so soft and gentle. Masculine energy, who try to be all alpha, feminine too, or females who are super masculine and like big old softies on the inside. I know it, because you my people. I kick it with you. We got to talk a certain way, act a certain way if we choose to when we're with each other. But when you with your baby boo, you're like, hey, baby. Everyone knows how to go between their masculine and their feminine, when they want something and when they want to get something. So that's why I say don't get stuck in not remembering that you are a divine being. You are a divine essence of life, just like you see flowers and trees. Why are you not enamored at the fact that you're alive and that you're breathing? These are the things that people take for granted, hidden behind someone else's tangible reality of what they call truth. Come back to your center. When you come back to your center, then you start to remember, oh, I'm a car. I'm a car. We're all cars. It doesn't matter what make or model or brand or this or that. At the end of the day, when we're all on the road going the same direction and we're stuck in traffic, don't nobody care if you got a Benz or I got a Honda, okay? We're cars. This is the whole point of ethnicity, body types, all this crap. They all come in different styles, makes, models. When you're stuck in traffic, ain't nobody going nowhere, no matter how badass of a car you got. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? If you got a dirty ass car, guess what? You're gonna feel heavy and you're gonna start hiding behind the heaviness of the dirt. It's the same with your body. I was a fat kid. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with anyone who's overweight, but I'm saying for myself, I was a fat kid. I was fed food that wasn't good for me. I was taught health things that did not benefit my growth into being a conscious man or a conscious being because I was just being fed. You know what I mean? Like after a certain point, though, we as adults, at a kid at 12 years old, I was like, this is not my life or my diet. This crap is hurting my body. Why is this burning? Like I remember getting really bad esophageal like reflex or acid reflux, and my mom was, they took me to the doctor, like, yeah, you just have acid reflux, you're just eating too many salty, this and that. And my mom's like, okay, we get in the car, and her reaction was, no shade, no tea, mom, back in the day, she's like, but that's just how we eat, that's our food, we put salt and everything. And I'm looking at her like, the doctor just said that I'm 15 with like so bad of reflux that I'm going to possibly get eroded and could get cancer that way. I'm gonna change my diet. And then I slowly changed my own diet. My whole family was looking at me like, you're weird, Juwan. All this good food. My mom used to feel offended for a minute. Like, what, you don't like the food I buy? And I'm like, Mom, my body is not yours anymore. You made me, but it's not yours to own. Once they cut that umbilical, mama, I'm my own being. Deuces, thank you. But this was my point of understanding, the remembrance. I remember the soul being fed and what it needed, but I also remember the soul being spoiled, hidden, lied to, keeping lies to itself. Because remember, when we drink and do stuff that we don't want to deal with in our ego form, the soul will convince us like, yeah, be sad, keep being depressed, keep drinking that bottle till it's gone. Yeah, we don't need to. That's not the mind. The brain doesn't care either which way. The brain literally is logical. It does not care if you hurt yourself or not. The brain's like, whatever, do it if that's what you want to do. All I know is I'm going to do what you told me to do. That's the car. When you're driving a car and you turn it on, the car goes where you go. You can't say that you hit a tree out of nowhere. The tree is planted. You drive in the car. You know that when you start it, it is now animated because of you. This is the soul knowing. Once it turns on the body and we wake up, because the soul in it dreams, it does whatever it wants. When we wake back up to our body and we stretch it and we feel it, when they say stretch your body, get the blood flowing back to all extremities. You should have balance and flow in your entire body. I learned again, as I said, back to the analogy. When I was always lifting and doing this and I threw my back off, I threw my organs off. Lung went up here, lung went down here. This nostril closed off. This was all messed up. Left foot was all wrong with a hole in the bottom. Hip was all off, and I'm walking all weird. And then I started to see like how we, as people, as we age, we don't show each other how to walk into our elderhood gracefully. That's when I realized like this is how old people. When I worked in the nursing home, I was like, how do you just get to a point where you're just starting to corroding and fall? And I watched it. I watched people give up on their bodies. There was one guy, Jerry. 80 years old, every morning, Jay, rotation, doing his arms, walking. And I was like, Jerry, you do this every morning. Why? He's like, Juwan, I don't want to stop moving. He's like, look at them. And he was not trying to be shady, but every other person stuck in a wheelchair, bed bound, waiting for somebody to take care of him. Jerry was like one of the only residents who can get up and walk around. He's like, I'm not going out like that, Juwan. And that moment, that's all it took for me. This was years ago, almost a decade ago, where that touched me enough that this man showed me how to walk into my elderhood gracefully. He's like, I'm going to get old, but I can choose to do it beautiful. And I can keep moving. When we give up on our body, we give up on our ego, we give up on our masculine energy. And that's when it becomes about, well, our flesh, our organs. Well, what are the things that make us feel better? Food, sex, this, that. We go back inwards and we live through the desires of the hedonism of our soul, which is its own emotions. Our current emotions are, I feel this way, but I feel conflicted. Where does the confliction come from? Ask yourself this question. If you're not able to give an answer to it, then it's not your confliction. It's somebody else's or some old memory from the past. That whole remembering moment, I like to say remembering, it's a remembering. You're just remembering a memory from a past that you are not connected to. If it has no tangible connection to your current life now, and you're like, I ain't hurt nobody, I ain't stolen nothing, what do I feel guilty? Because it don't belong to you. That's why I say find the balance. Right there, when you can sit and let your emotions say logically, click, 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 click. Why do I feel this way? The logic is the question. The answer is the creative feminine space, okay? Logic is masculine. Question, stable. Got it? Feminine, creative, pre-thought, God, universe, we don't know. Answer comes back to us. Depending on the answer and depending on our emotional balance at the time of asking the question, we're going to get solid wisdom. Why do I feel guilty? Because you've never allowed yourself to receive. Oh, why would I feel guilty about that? Because it's something that your body feels when it doesn't know what to do. All emotions are reactions to not knowing what to do. It's our antenna, it's our sensory bloop, bloop, bloop. So again, remember, the car, the body, we have to take care of it. We have to keep it balanced. When we say keep it in alignment, you can't drive a car if all four wheels ain't in alignment. It ain't gonna work. Your body's the same way. If all four extremities, arms are not balanced, fingers are not balanced, shoulders are not balanced, your back ain't balanced. If your legs are not balanced, your feet are not balanced, they're not aligned, your hips are off. And then your sacral space of creation and the place that holds your heart are now vulnerable and susceptible. You understand? People, remember, when you do this, you want to make sure that you have more access to the heart from the back than you do the front. But when you pull your shoulders back, you're prepared to react. If you're like this, you're like, huh? Anybody can get you when you're trying to look over your own shoulder. If you're already looking over your own shoulder, all you got to do is turn, right? Instead of doing this, how about you stay here in alignment and just turn and look around and be aware. This is what I mean when I say alignment. Everyone has their different version of alignment. Alignment to me is the body. Attunement is being able to listen to what the mind is knowing it's not giving answers to and processing what it knows it's not doing on its own and listening to where it's coming from. Where am I getting this information from and how am I receiving it? May it be through my own understanding of fractal patterns, something spiritual, esocentric, whatever you choose to believe in or feel, as long as you know it is not your personal ownership of these emotions, it's everyone's, which is the collective conscious. Collective consciousness, again, is if we all feel it and we all see it and we all agree to it, that's the collective consciousness, okay? Right? If I made one sole decision on my own, that's my own sole decision. Is anyone else affected? Not so much, not really. If I made one decision on my own that affects everyone and then everyone else had to fall in line and do so just because of my decision, that's collective consciousness no matter which way it goes. Whatever you want to call it, negative or positive, all that. Again, learn and study the law of duality and the law of polarity. Left hand, right hand, okay? Same entity, same source, same body, opposite ends, totally different things. One has to grab one way and one grabs it the other way. These are dual realities we live in at all times. Find your balance. You come back and you realize, oh, I was just doing it backwards or the reverse way. So that's the duality. If I flip it, now I can shave with my right hand and brush with my right hand. I've started learning how to write with my right hand again because it's just doing it the opposite way. Left-handers, yes, we push the words. Right-handers, you pull the word. It's push and pull, right? It's not anything complicated, but we've allowed the conditioning of where we come from to be distorted into a complicated, separated world of yours and his and mine's and theirs and this or that. When really, for it to be or this or that, there has to be a correlation of a meeting in the middle somewhere to say, here's a comparison and a contrast. You remember, you can't compare and contrast anything if there's nothing that's correlating the two. There's no comparison. If you can't find, you know what I mean? If you can't find a comparison, then there's not. There isn't one. All you can say is there's two objects. That would be a comparison. But beyond that, if it's completely different objects, what is the point of you trying to compare something that's so completely different if you know that the source of what's going to come back to is the same thing? Just understand both systems work together simultaneously, counterclockwise and clockwise. Instead of trying to live in one and control one, or can live in one and control the other, live in both and understand that that is the tertiary. When my hands are moving and you see my face in the middle, now I am a tertiary aspect of this movement because you see my hands moving and you see my mouth moving. I'm creating a, literally, imagine that there's a triangle connected to this. There's a linear line here, boom, linear line here, boom, connecting these two, but coming back towards my mouth, there's a triangle. I'm literally right now giving you what we call energy work because you're noticing all of these different things happening to you and you're having to process it and feel that. And then the energy starts doing what it wants to do. You can be like, oh, this is stupid as fuck. I don't know what he's doing. He don't know. It just created a memory. It just created emotion, and it evoked you to feel a certain way. That's energy. Why do you feel that way? And where do you displace that energy when it needs to be positive or negative to help you grow? Because it's then negative and positive are only charges of energy, not morality, okay? Negative is not morality. Positive is not morality. They're just concentrated energies. Either you're concentrated in negative energy or you're concentrated in positive energy. Either way, if you're at the dual aspect of both polarities, you're not going to get anything but the same type of energies. Until some way something finds a way to connect you, a circuit breaker, a surge protector, whatever. That's, again, what connects it, makes the correlation. That is what life comes from. Then you're able to see, oh, my body, live or die either any day now. I have no idea. All I can do is take care of it. But as I keep the balance in my body and I breathe through both lungs and I let everything function the way it's supposed to, I get clarity of mind and sight and hearing and taste and everything because it's a machine. Keep it clean, keep it balanced, keep it strong. Again, if your car breaks down, you're just gonna go out and buy a new car. Great. It's new on the outside, but not new on the inside. Unless you go all the way through and change the whole engine and get a whole new heart and all this stuff. Take care of the body and let it be what it is. A vehicle to get you through this life and understanding of the senses that is trying to teach you through a remembrance of the soul that it was here again. If anyone again believes in past lives and church and all this stuff and religion, then you understand that when we pass from this body, the energy goes back to the universe, and then when we're born, the energy goes right back into whatever that new body is. So that's when we say we old soul, or they don't seem like they're from here, or their energy is just, wow, where did you come from? Our energy can only recycle so many times in this earth until it realizes we've all been here before. We've all done this before. We're all broken into little pieces of ourselves. And when we come back together as a tribe, as a whole, as a school, as a community, as a whatever, we're stronger, we're better, we're smarter, and we do more. That's why, again, oppression and sadness and fear have worked. It's a concentrated energy of heavy density. That's all negative energy is. Hatred and all this shit. It's run the country and the world for so long because people choose to live there. Nothing's happening any different if you step outside and live in the light. The light is just saying, well, I don't believe in that and I'm going to go build over here. But then you're separating yourself from the world of light that needs to be shown on that darkness. This is why, again, I'm so happy that social media and people are using their mouths and their vessels and these tools that we've created through our need of want to show the light to the world so we can see the darkness that's been hidden, that's tried to control us. This is the same in our bodies. I almost let myself die because I was literally a fat kid eating everything my parents told me to based on a history of sadness. Half the food that comes from the black community came from, again, we understand the slavery and all that stuff are connected to it. And now people are making healthier versions. But before, it was literally just over seasoning it to eat the disgusting parts of the flesh that someone else didn't want or the things that someone else discarded and didn't need. That's why vegetables and fruits and all that stuff you will never go wrong with because you're not waiting for someone's waste to eat. You're providing and producing for yourself. That's why I love living the life that I live as a vegan, not to put it on anyone else, but I choose to say that bodybuilding, all that stuff, look, all tissue is and muscle is again that rubber band. And it's only going to go so long until it can go so long until it rips. So all you can do is keep testing it and training it and letting it pull away from the bone, which is the structure that holds us together. And then we start seeing those dual worlds again. The bone is the framework that holds us together. And I was allowing my muscle to take over, which is atrophy. And it started to contract my muscles and make sores, and I'm tight, and I need massages and all. All that shit comes from letting the muscle think it's in charge. The muscle memory is there, and the muscle is there to support the structure of the bones, okay? The bones are the minerals of the earth from our foundation, from our ancestors, from everything that was ever given to us. Again, when we pass and decompose, what's left? Our skulls, our skeletons, and the fossils is how we trace back DNA and trace back our history. So support your bone system, support your body with your structure, and then the muscle will go wherever it goes. The muscle will stretch where you tell it to stretch. The muscle will grow. There's no such thing as I need to get my pecs to look this way, and I've been working out. No, it's fix your structure of your frame and balance out your body, and then you will feel where your actual muscle falls to, and it will stretch, and then you'll start to see your true form. And that also is a dual moment of emotions. You get to see your true form and how you feel too, because you start to feel good. You start to get confidence because you start to know your body. It's just like driving a car. When I used to drive when I was 16, I was scared as fuck. Then when I learned how to drive, I don't even think about it. I'd be talking on the phone. I mean, you know, I got on speaker, listening, singing, drinking. So I used to smoke cigarettes. Sorry, I can't. It's no habit. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but I used to. And that's what I do. I drive and be doing all these multitasking things. And it doesn't, I don't even think about it. It's second nature. The same thing with the body. When I allowed myself to start working out daily, like you don't have to do strenuous workouts, people. All I do is wake up every day and stretch to what feels good for me. I lift some weights. I do stuff that fits my frame. Again, I'm 6'4", 6'4.5", if I really want to be that picky. I have a different body than anyone else. So me working out one way like somebody else does it means nothing to me looking at their body. But knowing what they're trying to portray by the structure of their body and the posture is showing me how to do it for myself, and then the rest will fall into place. Again, it all comes back to the remembering of yourself. Don't get lost in, ooh, this hurts, and then you give up, and then one side of your body becomes stronger than the other, and then by the time you're old, you're like, oh, you know, it's just been this way. No, you gave up on yourself, baby. And then you allowed your soul to convince you that this is how it's been, because your soul's like, well, I've been here before. I might as well stay here again. That's giving up on yourself. Don't do it. Don't do it. Sometimes I'm like, man, I don't feel like working out. Do you want to just go stretch for 2 seconds? Just stretch. I promise you. Once I stretch, I'm like, ooh, I'm ready to work out now. I'm ready to lift. I'm ready to, and then afterwards, I'm done. And it didn't take me any time. And then every day I get stronger, I get better, I get back to where I want to be. Because when I was younger, I used to be fat, and then I got in really good shape, and then I realized like I thought I was only working out for others' approval, and I stopped caring about my body, but then I started to affect my health. And I was like, wait, my body and my health have nothing to do with anyone else's approval. It's my own. And that was the moment that I took my life back. I had to remember who I was to have the memory of what my body wanted to be, which was healthy and shape, strong, so that I could have the healthiest life that I could until the day that I pass this earth. Because I've told you that Jerry is my inspiration. I want to walk into my elderhood the same way, where we all get to choose how we leave this earth. I'm going to leave mine in a comfortable bed in my home with my loved ones around me, healthy as an ox. I just fall asleep, and that's the way it goes. Put it out there to the universe. A lot of us don't think about it. It sounds dark, but I put it out there. I'm not leaving this earth until I'm done with my purpose, and I'm doing it in my sleep. Because if you leave it to the universe, circumstance and happenstance will always, I just want to be the biggest star ever. That's it. All right, well, make him the biggest star ever. And things happen. Things happen in life where it's like everything else gets taken away, because we have to be in balance with ourselves and not allow anything outside of ourselves to dictate who we are as individuals. Anything that I do, I want people to remember, I've been through all of this. Gay, black, fat, thick. Every single thing that society told me I should be ashamed of, I found ways to love even harder and even more and better, because I loved when I was a fat kid. Because it was my health, it was my mentally my healthiest as far as comforting myself. Physically it wasn't, but mentally it was, because I was like, nope, I don't care. I want it, I'm gonna have it. I want it, I got it. And that's how I learned how to love myself. When I got skinny and I saw that society just wanted that, I was like, oh well, they don't even know what the heck they want. Get out of here. You don't know me. I know me. And so now everything I do for the love of myself and for the love of my family and for the love of my next future generations that I'm going to raise, and then the next generation they're going to raise, because I want the legacy to be stronger than the imbalance of our history. You know what I mean? I love you guys. Thank you for watching this long. Again, this is EQ with JAH. I decided that I'm going to start doing more like a little bit longer, not longer than 30 minutes. I'm keeping it at 30 minutes. Some people, I tap out myself after 15 minutes. I'm serious. But again, find the balance in your body. Start with your structure. It's like washing your car every day or taking care of your car every day. The daily maintenance of your car do the small daily maintenance of your body. Clip your toenails, clean your feet, stretch, drink water, and then one day you're just balanced. And you're like, oh, that whole time I was holding myself back. What else can I do that I was holding myself back from? This is where the spiritual journey begins. This is where the awakening of the Kundalini happens, when you start to balance and use both your logical and your emotional selves to love yourselves. All right, loves, I thank you. I love you. Besos. Mwah, 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 mwah. EQ with JAH. Check me out on epicity.org, where I have my blog as well as my services provided. My Instagram, as Facebook, EQ with JAH, easy to find me. Just typing in exactly how it looks here on YouTube. And I post quotes there and other things. Y'all know how I do. Love ya. Find me. Talk to you later. Besos. Mwah.